Tonight we have a topic that will be quite fun. What is something in Orlando that you tried but is a one and done? This is where the mind meets the magic. We dive a little deeper every time. Theme parks, cruise ships, and travel. If you don't listen, maybe now it's time.
Hello and welcome to Mousecast, the podcast where the mind meets the magic. This is episode 69, and you heard our theme song. Tonight, we're talking about one and done in the Orlando area at Walt Disney World, at Universal, and in the general Orlando area. But let me tell you who's not a one and done, our hosts tonight. Meaghan, thanks for being with us tonight.
Glad to be here.
Matt is back with us. Hey, Matt.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be back.
And Hawk is here. Hawk, welcome back.
What's going on, Chuck? This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I think this is going to be kind of interesting. And folks, as you're in and along, and if you're watching us live, share in the comments. We're talking about the one and dones. And look, I know all the folks here have done it. You've done it too, where you've been to something, you've been an attraction, you were like, yeah, that was okay, but yeah, not doing that one again, or a restaurant or some sort of experience. So we're going to start off talking about, why don't we start off with Walt Disney World first, and we're going to share some of our one and done. Somebody's going to share one, and then we'll kind of all talk about it. And I'll tell you what, tell us what you think. You may disagree with us. You may say, oh no, this is not a one and done at all. I love this thing.
And Chuck, honestly, feel free to throw one and dones in the chat and let us
absolutely
talk about those as well, because we'll take some from anyone out there as well. I'm curious though, one and dones obviously have a different level of intensity for anybody. It can be a ride, it can be food, it could be a theme park. Is there any theme park in Orlando that any of you would say was a one and done for you?
That's actually a really good question. An entire theme park.
In
the Orlando area. So we're talking about a lot. I will put it this way. It's not that it was a one and done, but it's just a never done. And we're going to go to, hey, Hawk's laughing. You've seen some of the ads for it, especially if you drive to Disney or to Universal, and you're seeing them, and they're there, and you just kind of like, is this for real? And if you love this place, no offense whatsoever, I'm seriously no, but just not for me. I'm talking about Gatorland. This is see, there we go. Here we go.
I've never been. I can't say it. Jen keeps telling me that is like a something that we have to experience, and I honestly think I would enjoy it, to be totally honest with you. But
I don't know. Hawk might have some cousins or long lost cousins. Who knows? I mean, that are part of Gatorland.
A couple long lost cousins.
Yeah, really.
But the for me, that would not be on my list yet because I haven't gone. When I go, it may in fact be one of my one and dones. But that's an interesting one. What about Meaghan, Matt? Do you guys have a park that you wouldn't do?
I don't have one that is a one and done necessarily because I went and thought, oh, this is completely awful. But I have only actually been to SeaWorld once. And it's been over 25 years now. I probably should go back because I'm sure it has changed. 1998, 99, somewhere in there, like long time ago. And I don't remember a ton about it, but I just haven't gotten back. And I will say it's not a priority. When I'm in Orlando, I'm there for Universal. I'm there for Disney. I'm not, making the effort to go outside of those two, I guess. So in that way, maybe a one and done. I'm not sure I'll make it.
Yeah, so Tom in the chat says Gatorland is crying crocodile tears over this discussion. Hey, Tom, have you ever been to Gatorland? If you have, kind of share what your thoughts are while we're talking here.
Mousecast never to be sponsored by Gatorland.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to get. But again, if you love Gatorland, more power to you. Just based upon the advertisements, it just not.
So if you're an animal lover, one of the things that is cool about Gatorland is they do a lot of rescue work in the gator community, which is actually kind of cool. And you do, as much as gators can be a nuisance around Florida, you don't want to see harm come to them. Like I don't, I hate that. Like Meaghan's up there, like I'm gonna have me some gator bites, and
that I have done.
But they rescued Jolene. They have there the alligator that's got no upper nose, had to actually amputate it, so can't naturally feed herself. And she was sent there, and she lives with a turtle at Gatorland, and is fed by them, and has become a bit of a fan favorite for those that fan favorite Gatorland. But there are some cool things. And I think one of the things that is unique about Orlando is that there are so many theme parks or places you can go. And there's quite a few that you don't think of outside of Disney Universal. And you can even include SeaWorld in that. But I mean, you do have, Fun Spot, Gatorland, Legoland, like all these places that are in the area. So as I say that, I'm now up to 2 theme parks that I can say were one and dones for me. But Matt, what about you?
So we brought the kids, I want to say a couple of years ago, we did SeaWorld from their first time and my first time, and we did Busch Gardens. And I wouldn't say they're more or less one and done, but not planning. We went down to do a week down in Florida. We did one day at Magic Kingdom just because, but we weren't planning anything Disney related, and we kind of overstretched doing maybe 2 days at SeaWorld. We kind of realized, hey, this is more of like a one day kind of thing, even with the kid rides. Because I believe they have Sesame Street, kind of a theme for the kids there, which I thought was great. I thought it was really fun and interactive, and my daughter loved it. My son was, maybe a year or so. He wasn't very old, so I'm sure he doesn't remember. He was, we had him in the stroller and stuff like that. We would definitely go back. So, in as far as we've done, my wife and I have done like small trips. We went to Aquatica once and loved it for the day. So we would definitely do that again. So we don't really have any parks that I think are one and done in that respect.
Okay. So for me,
as I say, Hawk, what do you think? Because you said you got 2.
I got 2. Legoland for me was a one and done. Great if you have small children. Great experience to walk around, see, and some of the things there are amazing. I mean, it's the old Cypress Gardens, so they still have some shows and beautiful landscaping. It's a beautiful place to visit, but not having young, small kids anymore, it's not a place I would need to go back to. And there was enough that I gained out of going that I was like, yeah, okay, that I'm good. I don't need to go back to that one. And then I would have to say there is a Disney park, believe it or not, that is a one and done for me that I will never go back to just because it was not my vibe at all. And it's
no, Hawk, hold on. River Country is already closed. You can't count that.
Well, it is a water park. It is Blizzard Beach. It's dated. The retheming was not as good as I thought they could have done. When we went in to see it, I was just extremely underwhelmed. Orlando has had Aquatica was the first to kind of change the water park angle years ago, and really kind of outdid, in my opinion, what Disney had for water parks. And then when Volcano Bay came, it was just a different level. And now if I'm looking at the water park ratios or options in Orlando, my last choice is Blizzard Beach. And I'm not a huge water park person to begin with. So if I went down in order, I'd be going to Volcano Bay. I'd probably go to Typhoon Lagoon over SeaWorld at this point. But I got to say, as far as the actual water park itself, I actually prefer Aquatica over Typhoon Lagoon as well. But Blizzard Beach is just it's not there for me. I moved out of New England, so I don't have to see snow anymore. I don't want to go to the beach and see it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. We probably need to do a whole. We probably need to do a whole show kind of talking about water parks in the Orlando area. But what I'm really interested in, though, and Matt, we'll start with you. We're going to jump into the parks, though, at Walt Disney World, and give me one of your one and dones at Walt Disney World.
So the top of my list, the first thing I thought of was Coral Reef Restaurant. One and done. We did it 1 year. It probably our own fault because we just had to do it for Thanksgiving, just for something different. Where it was like, hey, we can go in there. It would never been, they have the aquarium theming inside, but we sat at the back, so we couldn't really see anything. And the meal we got was almost like an appetizer. It was minuscule, so we were just disgusted with it. We were just like, nope, never again. The first 2 times our family went down, we sat at the All-Star Sports. We had Thanksgiving dinner there, and it was amazing. It was one of the best meals ever had down in Disney, was that particular meal. So to go to a more upscale restaurant for that, and to be a total letdown, he said never again.
I've never been to Coral Reef, and that's one of the reasons why is because it gets such polarizing. There's so many people who have that on their one and done. For me, it's a none and done, and I'm good. Like I don't feel any need to make a reservation and go there at all.
Yeah, I'd have to. I have been to Coral Reef. My wife and I went one time, and man, I kind of echo. It was okay, but number one, you kind of go inside and you can tell that it needs a little TLC. It needs a little bit of attention. You can feel the age. On the restaurant.
So the glass is leaking and the water's pouring
not
through.
Quite to that degree, but you can just kind of feel this
is the aquarium to get your refill of ice water.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Like,
yeah,
it's a little salty.
Yeah,
like
a little
that.
Salty water. Now, but I mean, you can kind of feel the 80s. To be honest, you can feel now. That being said, if you're a Epcot nostalgia person and you kind of want to get that old Living Seas feel, you're going to get it at Coral Reef because I mean you kind of still get that Living Seas feel. But and the menu choices were okay. I'm with you. I think that it's a for me maybe not completely a one and done, but it's a definitely a one and probably not gonna do it again kind of thing like that. So, Hawk, what have you got? What's one of your Disney one and dones?
So I'll go to Epcot because Matt started there, so I'll bring it to Epcot. And I would have to go with Space 220. For me, went up, did the experience, super cool. And if you have kids, especially if they are interested in space exploration or anything else, I highly recommend it once. Because you're probably only going to be able to afford it once, number one. And 2, there are certain things that Disney does very, very well, but aren't good for repetition. They're not things you need to do over again once you've experienced it. Now, there are so many things at Disney. Obviously, we go to Disney time and time again. We go weekly. We repeat our same steps and do the same rides and do the same things. We're creatures of habit. But there are certain things Disney really does that are great to learn or experience, but I'm really good with saying that was enough. I'm good with that one. I don't need to do it again. And I think Space 20 was very much like that for us. We had a fantastic meal. We had some problems with management, trying to get some food rectified for my daughter, who's a really fussy eater. We were willing to pay full price just to get some mac and cheese, turned into a big debacle and literally became this whole big issue, which just kind of stupefied me, left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. But once you get up there and you've ridden the space elevator and you've done all the things that you've done, and you get up into outer space and you get to see it, and then you come back down to Earth, it's kind of like Katy Perry. She's not going up in the rocket again. That was a one and done. So
I'll agree with you, but here's the but. If you're talking about the restaurant, I think you're absolutely correct. However, I think the lounge, though, has that repeatability factor. And the reason why is that the price factor is so much lower. You go and you get a drink, and you maybe get one appetizer. You still get much of the same experience, but you're not all in with such a high price.
But Chuck, is it really like, I mean, and this may work for you like that, and I'm curious if it does, but do you really need to go up and watch the Cartoon Network?
I will tell you that I thought the appetizers were actually really good. I think it's a wonton taco was amazing.
The food is good. It is pricey, even at the lounge, for what you get. Mm-hmm. I do think it's still pricey, but it's the experience for me that makes it kind of a one and done, because there are several other places I can go to at Disney that still have phenomenal food that aren't quite that whole process. Mm-hmm. That are just,
well, I think if you can get a walk up, I mean, if it's one of those that you can catch a walk up on the lounge. Now, granted, this is a little tough to do. The lounge, frankly, is a much harder ADR to get now than the restaurant. So
because of the exact thing we just discussed.
No, I think you're exactly right.
I've only done the lounge, and even that for me is on my one and done list. When I went, the group that I went with, we were not impressed by the drinks that we got, and that could definitely be a one-day experience thing with that particular bartender, but it's just one of those that didn't make us want to go back again. So even with the lounge only, Space 220 is also on that was really cool to go and do, and now I'm done.
All right. Well, Meaghan, what else do you have on your one and done?
Okay. I'll also stay at Epcot because this is on my list, and I'll even stick with food.
Boy, no love for Epcot tonight.
But nobody yell at me for this one, because this one gets a lot of love online, and I just don't agree. The Norwegian school bread, not my thing. And Matt's making the face because people love it and they go back and they get it. It's a one and done for me, but I got it a second time thinking, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I just missed it the first time and it was on me. I'm still going to pass. I just don't think it has much flavor. Of all the things that I can order and taste around Epcot around the world, I don't and maybe it's not the school bread itself. Maybe it's the hype that goes with the school bread too. It's just not what I thought it was going to be. So it's kind of just this huge letdown for me.
You know what? It's funny because I'm in some respects I go for the rice cream every single time, and I just even forget the school bread. Yeah.
So does anyone on the cast enjoy the Beverly, or can we all unite that was also a one and done?
No, Beverly's not. Again, all it is sparkling grapefruit juice, folks. So if you like it,
we're here.
I enjoy making other people taste it, but I'm not doing it.
Look, here, let's put it this way. It's not like I love Beverly, but, anybody wants to do a Beverly throwdown, I'll take you on, because, all you do, it's as soon as you know that it's sparkling grapefruit juice, okay, your head immediately changes the taste of it. So it's
definitely not, it's sparkling grapefruit juice with antifreeze maybe, but the so
drink recipes brought to you by Hawk.
As you're watching tonight, please share your one and dones, because while we are having fun sharing our own, we really do want to see some of the.
Yeah, Tom, I know you're here and watching. Tom, be sure to share what's one of your one and dones.
What they are. So Chuck, what is your Epcot one and done?
Okay, as I'll say, I am staying in Epcot. Look, I love Epcot. Epcot, I really love you. I love you so much. But you do get your fair share of one and dones, and this is going to be another one that I'm going to get people going, ooh, and I'm just going to pull it out. When it comes to one and dones, it's almost like the elephant in the room. I'm sorry, but Le Cellier, you are on my one and done list. Le Cellier, I'm so sorry. Maybe at one point you weren't, but now you are. Le Cellier, you are a one and done. the only redeeming factor for Le Cellier, really, two things: poutine and cheddar cheese soup. But really, I think you can get those elsewhere, especially when there's the festivals and all that. You can get it elsewhere, But aside from that, I'm sorry.
Why is it a one and done for
the
you?
steak? Okay, so why is it a one and done? You've got to factor a couple of things here. So number one, of course, is the cost, and it's expensive. It's an expensive steak. It is not to the level of Yachtsman, okay, but also the steak is not to the level of Yachtsman. And if I'm going to argue between two steakhouses, I'm going to argue between Yachtsman and Le Cellier. Frankly, I'm also going and talking about Steakhouse 71 too, because I think Steakhouse 71, frankly, I will take Steakhouse 71 1,000 times over Le Cellier. So much better. The Meaghan's nodding her head. The red wine demi-glazed mushrooms. Oh yeah, I could give me a boat of those. But
do you find their steaks? My complaint at Le Cellier is everything is too salty, like overdosed with salt.
Yeah, I do seem. It's been a few years since I've been to Le Cellier. Obviously, being a one and done, where I haven't been to it since before COVID. But the steaks were. I think they are very. I'll put it this way: they're very heavily seasoned, and while that's okay to have a seasoned steak, to Hawk, to your point, I think you can get a little overboard on it, and it just the whole thing. I just don't think it was the experience wasn't there to the
we felt
degree of myth that Le Cellier. Oh my God, it's Le Cellier! It's the greatest thing ever, and I was just like, no.
We felt very rushed, and at a fine steakhouse, one of the things that I've always enjoyed is when you're paying premium money, you get a premium experience. And
which is again why I'll immediately go to Yachtsman down the way, or again over to Steakhouse 71.
I love the comment we just got. At Epcot, my one and done is Test Track. I drove 12 hours in a car. I find nothing exciting about Test Track. I would agree with you. Thankfully, I hope you didn't spend 12 hours on Test Track, because I have spent about 3 hours on Test Track once, broken down, and it was not a fun afternoon. But I do.
It's funny. So Tom Brewer, who's doing that. Tom, love you. Thank you for being on here. He says that it is funny because the kids all love Test Track. They can't wait to get on it, and I'm like, I can roll down the windows and you can have that for 12 hours as we drive down to Orlando.
But they're not driving, like, in that sense.
Well, they're not driving at Test Track either.
The kids feel like they are. It feels more like an experience for the little kids, like the younger kids.
You take the curves at 60 miles an hour, Chuck?
What's that?
Is Chuck taking those highway curves at 60 miles an hour?
No comment, since the state police could be watching this. So anyway, alrighty. So let's do one more Disney, and then we're going to switch over to Universal. So Matt, do you have another?
I want to let people kind of free flow a little bit, because instead of doing it maybe theme park wise, like we just kind of did the restaurants. Let's talk rides and kind of open it to like wherever that may be.
Well, if we're going to do rides, I'm going to open it right up, and Hawk, you're going to hate this one.
Yeah.
Because it is a one and done, and for you, it is an every single time.
Yeah.
Hawk, I'm sorry, you are a absolutely twisted individual, and how you can ride Velociraptor time and time again. Velocicoaster, sorry. Velocicoaster, I call it the Velociraptor. Velocicoaster, it might as well be a raptor because it chews my butt up every time I do it. One, that's a one and done. Let me tell you how evil Universal is on this particular attraction, folks. Okay, so you're on the Velocicoaster, and Hawk, give us a good description of Velocicoaster just real quick.
Your butt will leave your seats 13 times in 90 seconds, and it'll probably be the most intense ride you've ridden in a theme park on that small of a footprint ever in your life.
All right, so you get that. Very intense. So what do the evil folks at Universal do? After you get off, you have to turn to the left, and what do they make you do? Go down a set of stairs. You're barely holding on to your lunch, your brain, and hoping that your spine still exists. and you have to go down a set of stairs.
Chuck,
Universal,
Chuck,
what are you
just so
doing
you
to
know,
us?
Chuck, just so you know,
One and done for me.
For those of you, if you ever get the courage and muster that adventure again, there is an elevator just to the left of the stairs, and all you have to do is say, "Excuse me, Mr. or Miss team member, I'm old and stairs are not my friend." That's okay. They will take care of you there. I promise. The team members at Velocicoaster are absolutely amazing. I promise, Chuck. It doesn't have.
Oh, I'm sure the team members are wonderful. It's the universal version of Imagineers I'm mad at because they're making me walk down a set of stairs where I can barely determine what's up. Alrighty, but seriously, though, I mean, it's just I love roller coasters, but if you start doing barrel rolls, it's just too intense.
So Chuck, have you visited Busch Gardens? Have you done some of the stuff over there?
Well, so if you're talking about Busch Gardens Tampa, no, but ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Virginia where we have Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I eat me up Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Now,
okay, so people say that someone tried to tell me that Pantheon is very similar to Velocicoaster. I did not find that to be true. I did Pantheon.
No, I wouldn't agree with that at all.
Probably
the most intense that I felt at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Now we're talking Williamsburg, Virginia, and in my opinion, frankly, a far better Busch Gardens than Busch Gardens Tampa. All due respect to Busch Gardens Tampa.
It is park.
Apollo's Chariot was one of those that really got me. Yeah. And Apollo's Chariot is one of those attractions that we're sidelining here for just half a second, but you got to be ready for it because all you have is in your lap is this kind of plate, and this is major weightless time, and you feel like you're going to fall out. You really do.
And those coasters are so Apollo's Chariot load process is very uncomfortable.
Yes, it is.
Like it's a very uncomfortable process, much like what is it, Icebreaker at SeaWorld.
Something like that. But yeah, anyway.
There's another one that at Busch Gardens Tigris over in Tampa.
At Tampa, yeah, Busch Gardens
Tampa. It's a very, very rough load. Those would be one and dones for me, just for the discomfort of getting in and out.
Yeah, Apollo's Chariot, I ended up doing it again, but it was very close to a one and done just because I'm not kidding. That's probably one of the few attractions where I really felt like, oh my God, I'm really coming out of this thing. I knew I wasn't, but it just created that sensation.
Okay, so Matt, and they throw birds in your face.
Yeah, that's right. I know Tom's been down there too.
You're old enough to remember that, Tom. I remember that. That was hilarious. That just popped up on Facebook about 3 weeks ago, celebrating the anniversary of that too. So Matt, you just recently, you're not a huge ride guy. You started taking some steps. You did Seven Dwarfs, and you said you will do it again. It wasn't a one and done. You were okay with that. Have you tried? So in your journey of not being a ride guy, did that occur because you tried a couple and were like, oh, no, what is that what happened?
Yeah. Big Thunder Mountain I've done, and I didn't care I might try that one again. I was
okay.
Oh man, we're talking at least 20 years now. So yeah, I'm going to,
I think maybe the new track would help it too, because it's supposedly it's going to be a lot smoother.
I agree with Matt. That was a one and done for me for 20 years, and I finally got back on it, and I prefer it at Disneyland. It's much smoother. I'm hoping. I know that we've had this discussion with the track and its originality here, and it's supposed to be rough and all that, but I prefer the smoother track, and I'm hoping that when they update that, it kind of makes me like it a little bit more.
Well, you've read the articles, Meaghan. You've read the articles about how they recommend riding Big Thunder Mountain to, help you with kidney stones. Legitimately, that's hilarious to me. I think that's the funniest thing. So Matt, a one and done from your childhood that carried on into adulthood, what would that be for you? Would that be Thunder Mountain? Whoop.
Yeah,
Matt.
I think we lost Matt for just a second. He is coming back to us.
One and done was Frozen.
Yeah, there we go. So he's
and he was like, you know what? I'm out. Frozen was good enough, and that is
Matt just says he had a bit of a power loss, so he's going to come back and join us. So we'll touch base with Matt here in just a minute.
Well,
all right, Meaghan, as I'll say, go ahead.
I'm going to move away from roller coasters. I have a lot of roller coasters that are one and done. But one that is not a roller coaster, but is definitely a one and done, is Navi River Journey over at Animal Kingdom. Hard pass.
Okay.
It's boring. It's broken a lot. Some of the animatronics are not as consistent as they could be. Not a fan. I've actually ridden it more than once, but only because I'm with people who have never ridden it before, and they're like, "You have to come with me."
I'm exactly the same way, and for me, it's so far it's a twice and done, and the only reason that it was a twice and done is because it was a one and done, and then I went back to just kind of verify that I was right that it's a one and done. And let me see if correct hit the mic. Sorry, everybody, if you were listening on headsets. I'm sorry I just blasted your ears. Ooh, we're getting wound up here. Let me see, Meaghan, if you agree with what I say on this one.
Decaf, Chuck. Decaf after 6.
It's lemonade. It's okay. All right. What is the story of Navi River Journey?
It's a small other world.
Something like that, yes.
I don't think I could even say that much. I think your first answer was right. I have no idea. I don't think it has a story. There is no story.
Bioluminescence. Be amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty. But what's the story? It doesn't have one. And that, to me, is the challenge of this attraction. It's eye candy. Don't get me wrong. It is eye candy par excellence. I mean, if you want to go and just see eye candy, go for it. I mean, it's a wonderful attraction for eye candy, and it does have the shaman at the end is an amazing animatronic when it works. But there's no story.
Chuck, your definition of eye candy and the one I was learning growing up are just two very different things.
Come on, you know what I mean.
I think I'm losing power.
But I agree. Like, I think one of the things about Navi River and the technology in it is incredible. If you go to pick apart how the ride is done and how the special effects are done, and you take all that in, it's a fascinating ride to be able to have. And it is. But I agree with you 100% that Navi River, it just lacks a story. It lacks pulling you into the experience. It is literally a small other world. It's that ridiculous chant at the end for, the last 3 minutes you're there. And that leaves you walking out kind of almost like a zombie. You kind of zone out after that experience. And I'm not being sarcastic with that. It just kind of leaves you bewildered. And that's how I get off that ride every time. It's not a one and done for me. If it's less than a 10-minute wait, I'll walk through. And believe it or not, that does happen once in a while. So, we go to Animal Kingdom quite often, and wait times there have actually dropped drastically lately for Flight of Passage. It's very rare that even Flight of Passage is over an hour. So, it's usually about 45 minutes now. It's pretty quick. They're very efficient with getting people through the line and moving. They got the whole queue open. It's great to see. We did it just a couple of weeks ago, and we hadn't done it in a long time. And I was amazed how smooth everything went. It was really nice.
So, Matt, we're catching you up. Have you done Navi River Journey down at Animal Kingdom? And for Meaghan, it's a one and done, and I have to agree. For me, it's just about a one and done. What do you think?
I have done it, and I do enjoy it. When the last time we went down there, my daughter loved that ride, so we did it a bunch of times. Well, my wife did Flight of Passage because I want to try that ride, but it's one of those I'm going to have the courage to do it that day.
Okay, so now that we have Matt back, and we did determine your one and done was Let It Go, Frozen, right? That's your Frozen.
He was playing with you on that
because you froze up. That's why we said that. Boom, boom, king of the dad jokes, or bad jokes, whatever. What was your one ride as a child that was the one and done that kind of made you a little more, giving pause and a little more trepidatious moving into your ride adventures as you went into adulthood? What was the one that really hit you?
I don't like heights to begin with, so anything that I'm like high above, I don't care
Yep.
for. Anything with a drop. I did do Splash Mountain a few times. Didn't really care for the drop on that. I
Okay.
haven't done Tiana's yet. I still haven't really. It's still kind of intimidating for me personally. I don't like the
Okay.
feeling of my stomach being in my throat. So, or if I'm going to leave my seat, I'm all set. But it's also one of those things that, like, oh, maybe it's not. This is 20 years ago, so it could be a completely different experience now. That I want to give it another shot, but it's like I said, it's gonna have that courage to do
The,
it.
the reason I asked that, Matt, and I think this is kind of funny because I never rode rides. I was scared of heights, like, did not do anything. When my daughter was born, as she started to age, and I'm sure you see this as a dad, the kids are like, Dad, I really want to do this. And you're like, you can have fun. Well, I can't ride it by myself. Ah, crap. I have to
That's
go
what I
with
said to
you.
my wife, because my wife will do anything. And
Okay.
that's
Okay. So
my one and
you,
done is what I was going to mention, because I was just like, oh, we're kind of doing an Epcot theme, and my one and done, or for me, it's a none and done, was going to be Mission Space Orange, because that's the one ride my wife has done once and will never do again, and she'll ride anything. So
so
I'm with you there. I will not do Mission Space Orange because of the
I think
spinning.
that's a
Not at
big
all.
collective of people. I didn't start doing major rides until 2015. And then I just started getting over my fears and really started, falling in love with the fun and learning to let it go and trusting in the fact I was safe and able to ride the ride and enjoy it and get through it. And once I got through a couple, much like you talked about Seven Dwarfs, you were kind of surprised by it. And that's a coaster that's so designed to move with the centrifugal force. You don't feel the pulls the same way. So it is a smoother coaster by design, and that was part of the way it was designed by Imagineers. But that's a stepping stone. And as you build confidence, what's your next one? You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see as time progresses here. I have a funny feeling Matt will start to be able to call out some more advanced things. Not that we're putting any pressure on you, Matt. That
well, I was going to say, it's Seven Dwarfs, Mine Train, before I did Goofy's Barnstormer, and that's pretty much a kiddie coaster in a lot of people's eyes. And that one, I've only done once, and I'd probably do it again. But like I said, even that is just not on my level.
That
Like,
one hurts. That's
it
painful.
does.
Hurts
The
me.
last break.
But I will tell you what, my favorite thing about Goofy's Barnstormer is not riding it. It's standing in line and watching all the dads who are well over 6 feet cram themselves into
I
that
was
thing.
about to say the worst
It's
part is getting in and getting out.
my favorite part of the whole experience is watching the really tall dads have to crunch their knees are up here, but their 3-year-olds are having like the best time of their lives. And it's, I
I did,
love it. It's
So
I
a
did it on Seven Dwarfs,
quintessential
sitting next
Disney
to my wife.
experience.
Was like, okay, I'm literally like crunched in, like my legs fully closed, and everything. I'm trying to sit there with the lap bar, and this like, okay, this is just not comfortable at all. But people love this ride. I don't understand.
that's hilarious. So we got rides from Matt Chuck Velocicoaster. So devastated by your
I knew
response.
you would be. I knew you would be.
Just devastated.
Yeah.
Megan, what about you? What's your one and done ride?
Navi is going to be my
Yeah,
one
she
and
said
done.
Navi
Oh
River
yeah,
Journey.
okay.
I will say my honorable mention would be Men in Black over at Universal Studios. That hurts my back. I can't do just the way that it pulls. Oh my gosh, my back and my neck hurts so bad getting off that thing. I just can't do it. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's that I hurt when I get off there.
It's the last suit you're ever gonna wear.
Well, I'm
Come
wearing
on.
that suit once.
It does jerk you around a
What are you
bit. I
doing?
will admit it jerks you around a little bit.
It
I
hurts.
love that ride. We go on that. That's pretty much one of our go-tos at Universal. I can say my one and done at Universal would be the Simpsons ride. I cannot do the Simpsons. That is just, there is nothing enjoyable about that. It just, yeah. That's one of those rides that you come off and you need about 3 hours to regain your headspace. And I know that happens with some people with the Harry Potter ride, Forbidden Journey. That really affects a lot of people.
I have to say the same thing, and I don't, because I've never done the Simpsons ride, and the reason I've never done it is because I've heard this. The issue I have with Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, and it's similar to Mission Space in the fact that you are somewhat in an enclosed style. It's a little bit different, but go with me on this a minute. What makes Mission Space work that Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey doesn't is that Mission Space you constantly have airflow, and at Harry Potter the air just gets so stale. There's no you're in this you're moving on this arm and you swing into this particular space where there's a circular little mini omni projection style thing, and you're whipping around and doing all these kind of things, but there's no air movement blowing in your face, and it messes up your equilibrium because you have no sense of actual movement. If they had air blowing, I think it would help it.
See, that one I can look to the side of the screen and be able to re-navigate where I am. I can reset my equilibrium in Harry Potter.
Now, Navi River or not Flight of Passage, does it mess you up at all?
Only in certain places, yes, and it depends on how much I've had to eat or drink.
See, I'm the same way, but the difference with Flight of Passage, though, is you've got air blowing. They blow air on you the whole time.
I don't drink alcohol. I don't mean it that way. But
no, I know what you're talking about.
Like, I have days where if I'm a little dehydrated, it'll feel like I'm inverting on Flight of Passage. There's one particular part where it can really hit you, but 99% of the time, I'm fine. Nothing, doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, and the trick that I'll do is the exact same thing. I just check to the side, and I'm like, and I encourage folks on Flight of Passage, if you do it, take a minute and flip to the side, because you kind of see behind the curtains, and it's awesome.
No, don't even look beside you. Look behind you on Flight of Passage. That is perhaps the most advanced ride setup I've seen. It's amazing.
Yeah,
like
when
you realize how that ride is happening, you're like, whoa, that's super cool.
It's amazing. Now, let's see. Hawk, have you done yours?
My one and done?
Yeah.
The Simpsons.
Oh, that's what you just said, Simpsons. Yeah. So I think the next thing let's talk about, though, is entertainment. And so, there are a lot of interesting shows that are in all the various parks. And so, Meaghan, we'll start with you. Is there a show, something entertainment, that is on that one and done list?
A show, no. Any castle stage show at Magic Kingdom. One and done. They're fun. They're cute. I've seen it. Check it off the list. I'm good. And, it's just you're standing in a crowd around that castle. If I'm going to stand in a crowd around the castle, there better be fireworks going off, and I better be crying because of Happily Ever After, or even better, Wishes music. And that's it. So stage shows at Magic Kingdom are one and done for me. Cute, but not necessary.
I would have to agree. Again, it's kind of one of those things that literally, I mean, they're almost the epitome of the one and done, because it is the same show, pretty much. And you've seen it once, and there you go. My one and done, and folks might be a little surprised about this because it does have some really cool effects. I grant it that. I mean, there's one particular effect, really one, that I think it's very similar to Mickey and Minnie's, and at the very beginning when you walk through the screen, and that is Enchanted Tales with Belle. And that magic door that is created. It's a really, really cool effect, but the rest of it is kind of a one and done. I've done it once, and it was nice. It was neat. It was cute. There's a really cool hidden Mickey in the library.
I feel like that one falls under Hawk's Legoland rule of, like, if you've got young kids, it's really great. The first time I did it without my kids because I was there. It was one of the things I hadn't done before. So I was like, we got to go experience this. And it was like, yeah, this is okay. And then I did it with my kids, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. So it's just,
you're 100%. Meaghan, you are 100% spot on, because I think a lot of the things we discuss for us as adults would be a one and done, because it's not targeting our demographic. When, because we also Disney adult, like everybody on here has gone, congratulations, Matt, on the most recent opportunity for you to go as a
Yeah.
Disney adult.
Yeah.
But
As we discussed just on the last week's show.
but that's one of the things that I think is super important is, that distinction of what you're doing for your kids and then being like, okay, I could never see that again. And then your daughter comes running back and goes, I love meeting Tinkerbell. Let's do it every day. And for the week you're at Disney, you start off at Magic Kingdom every day, meeting Tinkerbell, because that's going to set your kid into the right mood. So I think there's a lot of that does happen. But I think at the same time, like for me personally, shows wise, I'm going to stupefy everybody and I'm going to say Fantasmic. Like that's a one and done for me. I was like, saw it. Don't need to go sit with 6,000 people in an amphitheater again. I'm good. I don't need
You don't have to wait for 20 minutes before it starts? Come on.
Yeah, nope. I can sit right there and do that,
folks.
I'm Tower of Terror.
Folks, I'm really, really sorry, but I'm completely with Hawk on this one. Fantasmic is a one and done. It really is. It's a one and it's really cool to see. Please go see Fantasmic. Great show, but unless for some reason you can catch it where you can get a last minute whatever, and you're just kind of it's a one and done. It really is a one and done.
Many, and it's funny because we're all such big Disney fans. Everybody here is very passionate about Disney and loves it. But it's ironic when I think about it, how much, especially now for me, where I have the opportunity to go on a weekly basis to Disney, how many things I don't do or don't have the interest in doing as a local. Because, when I went with my daughter for those first few years, it was something new every time. And we loved exploring every aspect and feeling as though we had to do everything, whether it was the Sorcerer's Game at Magic Kingdom, which I wish was still there. Like every little thing. When we found out there was something new, like we enjoyed the heck out of it. And, this weekend I was reminded of something that Disney does that's really amazing at Animal Kingdom is they clip the hidden Mickeys into the leaves on the ground around the safari as you wait in line, and they clip them, on the jungle trails and in the gorilla trail, and the kids will find these leaves that have 1, 2, or 3 hidden Mickey heads clipped out of them, and they get so excited, and it's such this little treasure, and it's a very subtle little nuance that unless you're staring at the ground and paying attention to what's going on, you're never going to notice it. And there's so many of those things in Disney that, we never notice or take the time to notice. But then there's so many things that we just don't have the interest in seeing again either. And they're all amazing things that are done. But whether they're dated, which is the problem with some, like one and done for me, Carousel Progress, also on that one. I don't care how big and beautiful tomorrow is. I'm good. I will see you on Space Mountain. Like that's kind of, those are ones for me. So, I'm curious, other than shows or rides, what are some of the experiences around the parks that you just don't need to have, guys?
So I'll start. So one of the shows I'll skip. I when it done was Nemo over at Animal Kingdom. Did it once. It put me to sleep, and I said, never again. This is just...
That was Carousel Progress. I got a nap.
See, I just did Carousel.
Well, a lot of people do Carousel of Progress to get a nap. I mean...
I actually just did Carousel of Progress my last trip, and I loved it. I just completely different perspective from the last time I did it. It was just kind of picking up different things that maybe I didn't notice before.
Tom.
And something that I'm going to twist this a little bit. Something that I have done and I wish I could do again, but I feel like it's going to end up being a one and done just because of the circumstances, was doing the Sword in the Stone little skit they do outside of the carousel. I believe my wife and I might have been on our honeymoon, or it was definitely before kids. We just happened to stumble upon. They were doing the skit, and they called me up to do it the first person. So of course, I wasn't going to pull the sword out of the stone. But just that experience was amazing. But just the timing was perfect. But to figure it out again, to like, okay, it's going to happen at this time. Maybe I'll get picked. Maybe I won't. But to me, it's going to end up being more of a one and done, that it's not really by choice. But I think it was just an awesome experience to have.
I am going to go a little bit broader because I'm a dedicated person on this one, and there are people that feel strongly both ways. I am a one and done for sleeping in on a park day. I can't do it. Give me my rope drop. I First of all, I'm an early morning person, so usually I'm up anyway. Kids, no kids, doesn't matter. I'm an early riser, and the just the anticipation of being one of those first ones in the park, being there before it gets all hot and gross and covered in people, it just I love early morning in a theme park. Hey, noon is gross at every single theme park. I don't care if it's Universal, SeaWorld, Disney, whatever. Oh, ugh, middle of the day, pass, hard pass. But give me that first hour of the morning, that extra magic hour or that extra hour at Universal every single time. I'm all about that. It's my favorite time to be in the parks.
Now, Chuck, what about you? What's your like anything goes kind of?
Yeah, this is where I'm kind of in the area of what Meaghan, and it's almost to the reverse.
You close.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm like, it's not really a one and done of like leaving before the fireworks, but if I'm gonna be in a park and I do plan to be there, in the evening, some parks I don't plan to be there in the evening because you're doing other things in the evening, but if you're gonna be there in the evening, be there in the evening, and it's kind of weird. It's a one and done, but not really a one and done. But it's the idea of, oh, well, we're just gonna, leave early in the evening before the fireworks, whatever. I mean, if you're gonna be there and close the place out. And as we've talked repeatedly on the show, take advantage of any late hours that you can get, because they are truly, all puns intended, they are truly magical hours. The other one and done that it's a sentimental for some people, I guess, but for me, and it was funny as we were talking about this, another attraction, and it could be it's a one and done for everybody. We don't know yet, and that's Astro Orbiter. Obviously it's totally gone right now. It's I don't know, have we even seen if they're planning to rebuild it back? It's gone. It was an attraction that was, I just don't know if they really thought about how to move people through that. Really, you're going to send them up and down an elevator? That's not the best traffic flow when it comes to the way you do that. But it's whatever. So, Hawk, what do you think? What's kind of one of your overall
my
one
truest
and done?
one and done, believe it or not, was the ferry boat. Not going to and from Magic Kingdom, but out around Tom Sawyer's Island. And one time, that was it. And now I'll never have that opportunity again at Walt Disney World anyway. So curious, everyone here has stayed at multiple resorts.
Yeah. While we're doing that, while you're talking about, hey, Tom, be sure to share us if you got another one and done as well while you're listening, or anybody else that you're listening. Be sure to throw in the chat real quick as we start to wrap up tonight's show. If you got any more one and dones, throw it out in the chat. All right, Hawk.
So another quick one for me, Liberty Bell. Just by the way, that's a definite one and done for me. But everybody stayed at multiple hotels. Do you have a hotel or lodging experience that you would say is a one and done? I do. I see Meaghan nodding her head, so we'll go ladies first.
All right, ladies first.
Yep, the Polynesian, one and done. I'm out.
Oh.
That lobby and how crowded it gets, the monorail, the dining. That is not a. When I stay deluxe, I want a calmer atmosphere than I have at like the All Stars and Pop. I don't get that at Polynesian. I'm not doing it again.
That's a true statement that I think a lot of people don't realize. But
I will give you the Poly lobby is very, very busy. It's a happening place, and that's because there's so many guests and visitors that come in there.
I did not think we'd be naming deluxe resorts in this conversation, but
really,
I'm gonna say.
Oh wow! Okay, I've got to stop here. Tom drops a bomb.
Animal Kingdom, other than the Yeti.
All of Animal Kingdom, other than the Yeti, which by the way doesn't work. It doesn't do much for me, and I like the Bug's Life R.I.P. So Tom's back to our whole park
right
thing.
Up till the end of this show.
Yeah, back to our whole park says Animal Kingdom. So Tom, when you get a second, write in the chat and give me a sentence or two about why you say all of Animal Kingdom is a one and done for
and
you.
Okay, doing that, Matt's going to tell us his hotel.
So the only hotel resort I would actually made me think about not staying at was the Caribbean Beach. We only stayed there for a night. It was during renovation. It was a spontaneous trip. We just needed a place. We extended a trip in the summer, and we didn't even use the resort. It was literally just a place that we got in late. We just, a bunch of us just crashed, and the rooms weren't anything special. I felt like I was at pretty much Pop Century or something like that. Like the theming of it and the design was just very similar to Pop Century. I felt anyway. I mean, people might think I'm crazy, but like I said,
it is a polarizing resort for sure. It's my sentimental favorite, but 100%.
It is.
But I'm actually with Matt on this. For me, it's a one and done.
Yeah, same. And that was mine. Caribbean Beach, and I will tell you, like, I think it's the sheer size, the lack of practicality to get around it, like. Until the Skyliner was brought in, it was definitely at the bottom of my list. Now I would consider it if I could get in one of the Skyliner stop countries. Like if I was right at
Aruba.
I know. And what's the other one? Tahiti? Is it the other?
I think it's Tahiti, but really Aruba's the best one because it's close to Riviera.
But either one, as long as I can get straight to the Skyliner, I'd be okay with it. But I don't love the resort for the way it's laid out. And there are some resorts that I feel are too big. And a lot of people would say that about like Saratoga. Like I've heard commentary about it. There's
Key West is the same way too.
Yeah. And you reach a point where you're on vacation. I don't want to get back to my hotel and then walk another half mile to get to my room. I want to have some practicality there. So I think, if Tom and I were to go visit a resort and we could build the Carousel of Progress on one side.
Here we go.
Animal Kingdom on the other side. He could go enjoy his day. I could go enjoy my day, and we could meet at the pool and just have great conversation about that big, beautiful tomorrow. And I could tell him all about the amazing animals over at Animal Kingdom that we spend all the time with, like Tucker, the new baby giraffe we just saw on Sunday, like Boxo, who's getting nice and big and growing up, and baby Cora, who's still out there with the elephants.
Yeah, Tom says he's game, but I tell you what, you're sitting there talking about the safari, and Tom says it. Tom says Animal Kingdom just doesn't do much for me. I don't like Cali River Rapids because I don't like getting wet. And the safari, as he says,
we agree.
You and Tom agree something. But he says the safari is a one and done, and he finds the park hotter and more humid than the rest. That's not a fine. That's a fact. It is hotter and humid than the rest. But the safari, a one and done. Interesting.
I mean, Animal Kingdom's a bowl too by design, so like it is going to hold heat. And it definitely is a warm park. I'll give him that. And I do agree on Cali River Rapids 100%, Tom. So maybe we can be friends again.
Yeah, maybe just maybe there's some bridging the gaps there between Tom and Hawk. So what do you think? If you have been watching here or listening on our podcast, come on out to our Facebook page, and you can find us at Mousecast 2025 on Facebook. Again, you can find us on YouTube. Just search Mousecast on YouTube. Tell us in the comments, what are your one and dones at Walt Disney World, at Universal, anything in Orlando? I want to say a huge thank you to Matt, to Meaghan, Hawk. Also a huge thank you to Tom, who was joining us by chat tonight for Mousecast. Remember, we're live every Tuesday night at 8:30. And remember, the final Tuesday of the month, that's actually next week, it's game night. So be sure to come and join us and play along in the chat. This is Mousecast, the podcast where the mind meets the magic. And so until next time, we'll see you.
Mousecast Podcast thanks you for listening to our show. When you let the mind meet the magic, it's where the deep thoughts flow. This is where the mind meets the magic. We dive a little deeper every time. Theme parks, cruise ships, and travel. If you don't listen, maybe now it's time. This is where the mind meets the magic.